Since the Big Bang and up until 2014, India was dominated by a media that was inherently left biased. Congress, through its decades-old rule, had managed to create an industry that only bootlicked its souls. However, the unprecedented rise of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his NDA government rattled the left ecosystem that was having a game of ball up until then. Suddenly, a host of left-wing media outlets sprang up to supposedly take down the nationalist government. While 7 years have passed and they have been unable to make even a tiny dent in the Modi caravan, no pun intended, their existence has also led to the rise of nationalist and right-wing platforms for the first time in Indian history. For the first time, the silent majority of the country has a voice that speaks for it, bats for it, and puts the country on top and not some political dynasties. Hi and welcome. You watching TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Atul Mishra, and in this video I shall tell you how the rise of the NDA led to the birth of a subservient left-wing journalism in the country and how it was efficiently dealt with by the budding right media professionals. The rise of a nationalist government and a pro-India leader in Narendra Damodar Das Modi in 2014 signaled a change in the aspirations of the people of India. The hegemony of the left liberal ideology that was entwined with the corruption of successive UPA governments was busted, and the NDA was given the diktat by the people to hold the reins. Soon after, close aides of the Congress government across the journalism drawing board coalesced and formed alternative left media portals. The sole purpose was to develop concerted hate campaigns against Prime Minister Modi. Siddharth Varadarajan, Raghav Behel, Shekhar Gupta, and numerous others that subscribed to the left-wing ideology and received ethereal benefits under the UPA regime formed their independent yet subservient portals, an oxymoron, that is to say. While Scroll was the pioneer in the left liberal media outlets, the Wire, the Quint, and the Print jumped on the bandwagon as well. Remember the entire intolerance controversy immediately after Prime Minister Modi assumed the chair. It was the first of the many elaborate campaigns to come in the later years to target the NDA government. Right from the award Wopsy Brigade to Bollywood celebs feeling threatened in the country, the left-wing portals milked the issue greatly. But this was not it. They brazenly propagated an anti-Hindu line and undermined the Indian Army and India's position in Jammu and Kashmir. Another thing that both left-wing and the purported mainstream media have engaged in is manipulative and selective reporting of hate crimes. Almost like a raging storm, the left media singled out Hindus and turned them into perpetrators of hate crimes against minorities, with the focus being on Muslims. All of a sudden, there were mob lynchings being alleged all over the country, with Hindus being the perpetrators and Muslims always the victims. Many of these alleged crimes turned out to be false or half-baked stories. Meanwhile, hate crimes committed by members of the Muslim community on Hindus have been downplayed and continue to be brushed under the carpet. However, at the same time, few portals that were on the opposite end of the political spectrum from the aforementioned channels started to mushroom as well. TFI Post and Op India were born, while Swarajya took on a new identity in the post-digital realm of India in a post-geo world. Thus, the counterbalance that was missing in the media scene of the country was discovered. Op India since then has been breathing down the necks of such portals, pushing their anti-India agenda, while Swarajya has taken care of issues of cultural identity, in-depth ground reporting, and has pushed a nuanced view of India free from the contamination of left liberal beliefs. Meanwhile, the frustrated Indian and TFI Post not only burst myths and leftist lies, but also sets the narrative not only for the national audience but a highly engaging international audience, and simultaneously exposes the sinister campaigns of the left liberal lobby. Over the last 7 years, there have been numerous instances where leftist portals have chucked down the anti-India hate potion and have spewed venom upon the people. During the hearing of the Kulbhushan Jadhav case at the International Court of Justice, the Pakistani side produced the Quint's story on the Indian prisoner as a definitive proof against Indian claims. The Quint had published the highly objectionable report on January 6, 2018, and after receiving a severe backlash had taken it down. However, Pakistan had repeatedly cited the article in their defense against India's claims. In the story, the Quint claimed that Jadhav was an Indian spy, and a very bad one at that, who was hired even after top raw officials had rejected his candidature. Jadhav was arrested in Balochistan with his Indian passport on him. More recently, The Wire, working on elaborate guesswork, hunch, insinuations and lies, the four horsemen of journalistic death published a report on the Pegasus spyware accusing the government of snooping on eminent personalities of the country. To date, the publication hasn't put forth a tiny shred of evidence. And that in microcosm explains the existence of The Wire and the work it has done since its institution. Meanwhile, the Prince Shekhar Gupta has sealed his journalistic legacy by publishing the infamous coup story that has granted him a lifelong sobriquet that will linger till the end of times. While developing, the left-wing portals did not yield the benefits as the overlords of the said companies thought initially, thus a smear campaign was orchestrated on social media platforms. Any news channel or any individuals deviating from the line set by such platforms was instantly dubbed as Godi media or Bhakt. This was simply a defense mechanism from the increasingly agitated cabal that wanted to get ahead of the curve before people started calling them names for lying prostrate in front of the few political dynasties in the country. Although the slangs propagated did catch on, but unfortunately, other than winning meaningless battles in their echo chambers of Twitter, it amounted to nothing in the real world. Moreover, counter adjectives were summoned, and the biggest darling of the left establishment, a particular individual of the Gandhi family, is still looking to erase it off, which unfortunately has now stuck with him for life. The left-wing media portals use established left media channels such as NDTV as a crutch. Both have developed a symbiotic relationship and keep each other's morale high. The hatred for PM Modi has transcended into a hatred for the idea of India, and there is no winning over the legion of them. When a rival faction cannot win a direct battle, it often engages in proxy wars to make up for the lost ground. And lately, the left ecosystem has done exactly that. The greenhorn right-wing ecosystem is against a system that has gamed governments and the media industry since the dawn of time. As reported by TFI last year, India's top right-wing media outlets, that is TFI Post, Swarajya and Op India, have been blacklisted by Wikipedia. This is to say that if an individual wishes to cite any of these web portals as the source in any Wikipedia article, they would be unable to do so since these sites have been blocked by Wiki's perceivably rattled and compromised top editors and executive. Notably, rightlock.in, our previous form, also finds mention in the blacklist. The social media companies and other tech giants are inherently left biased, and as a result, the reach of right-wing portals is deliberately reduced. But still, the left-wing portals have miles to catch up. This is a modern digital era where viewpoints are hyperpolarized and people tend to live in their utopian worlds. However, for the first time, at least in the Indian context, the citizens of the country have an alternative nationalist voice that battles against the hegemony of left liberal establishments.